All right, guys, we got a next interview here. We're talking to Dr. Rhys Crilley, Associate Professor at University of Glasgow and author of this new book, Unparalleled Catastrophe, Life and Death in the Third Nuclear Age. So the first question I had for you, Rhys, is what is the third nuclear age?
Cool. So the third nuclear age is this idea that the current moment that we're living in of nuclear politics is new and different, right? We had this first nuclear age during the Cold War, where the big issue is like the arms race between the Soviet Union and the USA. And then the second nuclear age begins at the end of the Cold War, where we see reductions in the number of nuclear weapons that exist in the world, but we see fears about nuclear proliferation. So that's new states getting the bomb. That's places like India and Pakistan who test nuclear weapons in the 90s, and it's fears about rogue states and nuclear terrorism during the context of the global war on terror. So this third nuclear age begins more recently, right? In 2019, we start seeing important arms control treaties collapsing. So there's a treaty called the INF Treaty, which limited the US and Russia from having certain types of nuclear weapons and missiles. So that collapses in 2019, and other arms control treaties start unraveling then.
So from my understanding, essentially, the first nuclear age would just be sheer quantity, right? Just amassing bombs. And then the second nuclear age is sort of like the beginning of hey, maybe we made too many and a little bit of disarmament. But now you're saying that new countries are arming themselves, other countries are rearming themselves. And would you agree that it's not necessarily about the quantity of these weapons anymore? It's just one of them could be powerful enough as 1,000 from 1960.
Yeah, totally. So actually there's a trend towards using what are called lower yield warheads, but these warheads are actually as powerful as the ones that we used in Hiroshima.
Is that what they would call like a tactical nuke or something like that? Because you hear that term thrown around all the time.
So they're like smaller nuclear weapons that are meant to be used on battlefields, but if they were ever used on a battlefield, it would, devastate.
Yeah, it's over.
kill hundreds of thousands of people, right? So we're seeing like kind of a shift. We're seeing states making a lot more threats to actually use nuclear weapons, right? Trump's fire and fury, Putin's threats after his invasion of Ukraine. There's been some Israeli politicians after, the genocide in Gaza to say, why don't we use a nuke?
Yeah, we heard that in the beginning. They said, why don't we nuke them, which is deranged.
Yeah, totally.
But we got more stuff coming. We're going to talk about the political sphere around nuclear weapons, like how society views them. But we're going to get back to you with another interview, guys. Thank you again.